So Squid Game Season 2 finally dropped. The wait felt longer than a bad date. Was it worth the 3-year wait? Seriously, I've had more fun watching paint dry. In this video I dissect the chaotic mess that is Squid Game Season 2 and honestly, it's not pretty. I'm going to dive deep into why this season didn't live up to the hype. It's a real train wreck of plot holes and ridiculous moments. Have you ever waited 3 years for a package to arrive, only to find out it was just a participation award and a half-eaten bag of chips? Well yeah, welcome to my life, and also welcome to Squid Game Season 2, a show that took 3 years to make, and I'm pretty sure they spent most of the time trying to figure out how to make Gi-hun's hair look even more ridiculous. And warning, this video does contain spoilers. I mean seriously, that red is a crime against fashion. So the premise is simple. Gi-hun is back and he's mad. Real mad. After winning the first series, he doesn't even get on the plane to visit his daughter. Instead, he decides to live off the winnings and just be angry for a bit. This is something the audience can relate to. I've been angry at the telephone company for years. Anyway, the whole thing is about him trying to take down the evil organisation that made the games. He tries to do this by crossing off days on a calendar and shooting out walls in a derelict hotel. We waited 1,095 days for this revenge story, and honestly, I've had more enjoyable trips to the dentist, and those are always agony. I think the fan theories are more creative than the actual plot of the show. This season is like when you order something from Temu, it arrives many months later, and it's not even remotely like what you expected. At this point, I feel like Season 2 barely deserves the participation award. What is the lesson here? I think that sometimes the most exciting part of a sequel is that it's over. Kind of like getting to the front of a really long line at McDonald's. Make sure you smash that like button if you've ever felt personally victimized by a bad TV show, or even if you just like seeing me suffer. So Gi-hun gets back into the game, but it's like they just copied and pasted the first series and changed a few minor things. Like Gi-hun's haircut. We get it, before he was sad, now he's mad. Let's play red light, green light again. Really? We've seen it, we get it, can we move on? I was more surprised when my toast popped up this morning. And don't even get me started on the characters. They all had the personality of a wet sponge. Gi-hun with red hair is like a budget superhero. The woke storylines were painful, like trying to watch your grandparents use TikTok. And the legendary policeman who fell off a cliff and the only thing lost was his common sense. Past the bumbling, dim-witted characters, the rest of the plot tries to create some kind of social commentary about capitalism. The theme of greed, cruelty and capitalism was like so subtle you could miss it if you blinked twice, which is how you normally watch Netflix anyway. The writers started with an interesting recipe, but by the end they forgot what they were cooking. If you're a real human with real opinions, hit that subscribe button. This season introduces more intrigue about the front man. He is the cop's brother, obviously, because why not? I just want to know, how does this guy get away with all this? The plot holes are massive, like sucking in all the logic and leaving nothing but chaos in their wake. How does this guy find all the time to run a game and still pay his rent? That's what intrigues me. Does he have a side hustle? Because if so, I want details, I want in. We also have to talk about this ending. Did they just run out of time and the story ends mid-season? And did we ever find out why Gi-hun just didn't get on the plane? I mean, seriously, the poor guy is a kid in another country, but instead of going to see her, he chooses to try and take down the Squid Game people? I mean, this guy is like the worst dad ever. I mean, the whole series is just a chaotic mess of questionable decisions and random plot points, and every character is just doing whatever they want, whenever they want. And why does the colour red feature so much? Red outfits, red hair, red blood. It's like, do they have an obsession with red? And the voting system, please. Like anyone actually believes that these people would be logical and vote to stop playing? Well, we all know that nobody is getting out of there with the money. And these guys can't even decide what to have for lunch, let alone vote on something important. It's like they took all the good things from Season 1, put them in a blender, and then just poured it all over the floor and called it a day. And the sets, they look great, sure, but they're just as confusing as my tax return. I mean, seriously, those staircases are more of a mind game than the actual games themselves. Squid Game is meant to be a commentary on greed, cruelty and capitalism, but I'm pretty sure it's just a commentary on how long you can milk a successful TV show before it completely falls apart. If you have an opposing view, drop a comment below. I could do with a good laugh. So was Squid Game Season 2 worth the wait? Maybe not, but at least we have something to talk about beside the weather. Season 3 better be good though. So in summary, Squid Game Season 2 was a thing. It existed, we watched it, and now we're all left wondering if we wasted 3 years of our lives waiting for a TV show that was as disappointing as a lukewarm coffee. The lesson here is sometimes it's better to not expect anything at all, because that way you can never be let down. And also that red hair is still a crime against humanity, even 3 years later. The moral of the story here is that even if you are making a show about the evils of capitalism, the need to make money, and trick viewers into tuning in for season 3 will always win out. Anyway, that's it for me. You should subscribe because I've got more takes in me than a bad action movie. And also, you should totally check out my other videos, but that's up to you. So hit subscribe for good vibes and have a sensational day.